Welcome back to the I Am Passionate podcast. I hope you all are doing well. I'll need you all to bear with me for this episode because this time of year and my sinuses do not go together. So I'm gonna try to keep, the energy up as high as I can. But for this episode, I've got an amazing guest with me, aka my big bro, Cam Killer. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I got a haircut today, so I'm also feeling good.
I'm glad we
But
could hop on. Yeah, glad we could catch each other. I was thinking there for a second we might miss it, but I'm glad we got to get on.
It's all good. It's all good. So, we're going to talk about, some week 10 action. But before we do that, you know, I had the same thing for Kevin where I counted, like, I kept track of his prediction record. So I'm going to give you the same kind of treatment.
All right.
So
All right.
after this episode, when we find out, obviously the winners and losers, I'm going to keep track of your record.
Okay.
But for me last week, for week 9, I was 9-5 in my predictions. I got wins with the Ravens, the Rams, the Bears, Seattle, the Jaguars, the Broncos, the Patriots, the 49ers, and the Chargers. And my losses came from the Packers, the Lions, the Cowboys, the Colts, and Chiefs.
Bunch of
So
letdowns.
I know, right? But
Bunch of upsets. Yeah.
so really, just kind of before diving into week 10, just to talk a little bit about the NFL trade deadline, what was kind of some of your thoughts on the trade deadline and maybe who was one of the bigger winners in your eyes?
Uh I think honestly the Jets are huge. Obviously they kind of emptied out house, started to at least, and I think honestly they're positioning themselves. They got a few good draft picks in the next 2 years, so I think it'll be interesting to see what they're able to flip those picks for and potentially maybe get the New York Jets out of purgatory, maybe just maybe. Um, other than that, though, I think the Eagles obviously super active as always. Definitely their owner GM's not ever afraid to make any moves like years past. So adding Phillips from Miami, shoring up, I'm not really going to comment on Alexander, but obtaining him from the Ravens for a trade, I think they added some good pieces, and they are already a team who have a threat to take it the whole way. So it'll be interesting. And Brandon Ingram coming out of free agency all of a sudden to come help shore up their pass rush. I think it'll be a good second half of the football year after the trade deadline.
I understand. Really, I kind of, my winners, I say the Colts, even though that, yes, they got Sauce Gardner, but the thing is Sauce Gardner, in my opinion, is kind of mid. They do need that DB help. So the Cowboys, which it's kind of controversial just because like you're about to be paying Quentin Williams now, but you would have paid Micah. Um, and then Seattle getting Rashid Shaheed from the Saints. He's a pretty good deep threat, so that's gonna make that offense even tougher to stop. Um, and so for the Jets, I mean, I kind of have them. I also agree with you with your Eagles take. And for the Jets, I have them as kind of a winner and a loser. Like a loser because like, dang, you did just trade your best two defensive players, but like they did get some picks for both of them, so
Yeah,
kind of a little bit of both.
I agree. I agree with that.
And so really, just the other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about before diving into the Week 10 games. Because, normally I try to say what I think the best games are each week. When in reality, I'm just gonna have one game I'm gonna comment on that happened in week 9, and that is the Bears and Bengals game.
Of course.
That I think should be in the conversation for game of the year. Um, because I thought when Tremaine Edmonds got that interception, I thought like, okay, the Bears gonna run out the clock. I'm thinking the Bengals might put up one garbage time touchdown, but they dang near almost won.
So I have a funny experience with this Bears game
Hmm.
because there was like, I don't know, maybe 6 minutes left. I thought the game was over. And the Steelers Colts game was getting a little bit closer towards the end.
Hmm.
So I was originally watching the Steelers Colts game. It got a little boring. And I switched to the Bears game, and then they ultimately ended up blowing, getting after that interception, it got to a blowout, basically, is what it seemed like.
Right.
So I switched back to the Steelers game because it was getting a little closer and it was getting to the end of the game. I was like, okay, let me see if my Steelers can clutch up or not as a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
Steelers game ends. I'm like, okay, we got that dub. And then I checked the Bears score, and they're practically within a touchdown of
Yeah.
of coming back. And I was
Mhm.
like, they just blew this lead. What happened in the last 4 minutes that I missed? Uh, so it was incredible. It was incredible. I think it was a lot of bad
Mhm.
defense, a lot of bad defense, a lot of bad tackling. Um, but it was exciting, man. All the way down to the end, it was exciting. It kind of reminds me of the Chiefs Bills playoff game that went overtime.
Oh, where there was like 4 touchdowns in the final like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was just back and forth at the very end when you thought the game was practically over, and it just was not over.
Yeah.
So it was exciting. I definitely think that it should be up for game of the year.
I agree. I agree. So moving on to talk, week 10 tonight in a couple of hours, we have the Raiders versus Denver. So, usually, throughout the season, when like we have a team like Denver, I think they're 6-2, six and
Six
three.
and three. I
So
think they're
they're in
six
that
and three.
ballpark. They're, I think they're second in the AFC West behind the Chargers. So this is more important for Denver because you can't afford to drop this game to a bad Raiders team, despite them being in your same division. And so I do not think this is going to be a good matchup specifically because I don't think the Raiders can hang specifically. I think the Broncos offense, despite being kind of inconsistent this year, I think the Broncos offense has the potential to put up some points. I don't think the Raiders offense can keep up with the Broncos offense for very long. Maybe a half, but not an entire game.
I agree. I think this is about the Broncos having to come out and really just execute, and kind of separate themselves from being a team that could potentially go all the way versus a team that's just going to be some type of a threat,
Hmm.
because right now there's a battle in that division between three teams.
Close race.
So seeding really does matter, and it's going to come down to who's going to have playoff home field advantage and who's going to be fighting for that wild card spot. So
Hmm.
if the Broncos want to be not pretenders and they actually want to and make a run for this, they're going to have to come out and actually make a statement against the Raiders because I'm sure that the Chiefs will and I'm sure that the Chargers also will. So they're going to have to be consistent on the offensive end, and I don't really have any lack of faith in their defense. So
Yeah, same. And even though that Sertan is probably not, I think he's supposed to miss the next 3 games still because he didn't play last week. I would bet the Broncos are probably going to double team Brock Bowers because the Raiders did just trade Jacoby Myers to the Jaguars.
yeah,
So I'm gonna take the Broncos to win this game 30-13. I think they win by at least 2 touchdowns at least, but I'm gonna say they're gonna win by 3 scores.
yeah, I agree. I would agree with that. If they don't, I feel like it would kind of be a disappointment.
I agree. So moving on to, I believe this game is gonna be played in Berlin regardless. I know this game is gonna be played internationally. It's the Falcons versus the Colts. And in our conversations, off screen, we've always talked about how the Falcons are just so weird. Me, you, and Kevin have talked about this, where like they'll look bad against a team that they should beat, and then they'll look good against a team that they shouldn't beat. So like I feel like this could be one of those awkward
Trap
games.
game, trap
Yeah.
game.
I think this could be a trap game for the Colts. I think it could be. And the thing is, the Falcons, they have a talented roster.
Yeah,
I don't like their head coach personally. I think his name is Raheem Morris. I don't think he's
yeah,
that good of a coach.
yeah.
Um, and so the Colts against your Steelers, this was definitely the worst game that they played all year. And the thing is, that game was still somewhat close, which if they were to take a positive out of it, it would be that. But I would say the Steelers got that win because Jonathan Taylor got boxed. But
I agree. I think our defense for some reason woke up for one game and actually played like the players on paper that they are.
Mhm.
And it kind of showed with that. But to your point, the fact that it was still a one score game, we had forced 6 turnovers.
I think three
and it
interceptions and three fumble recoveries.
and it was still a one score game at the end. I feel like it's more of a knock to my Steelers than it is uh, uh, a knock against the Colts for
Yeah.
having six turnovers. But yeah, I think this Falcons Colts game is a trap game. I think, like you said and outlined, this is one of those games where going in, you might think that the Colts should win this game, but the Falcons have somehow seemed to win the games they should lose and lose the games they should win.
Hmm.
So I think if they can generate enough pressure, kind of like the Steelers just did against the Colts, and kind of force Daniel Jones to panic, and if they box JT, then it could be a formula for an upset again. I know the Falcons' strength really kind of is their defense. Their offense has been inconsistent. Of course, they
Hmm.
have superstars on their offensive side as well. Just been inconsistent with Penix being in and out the lineup and whatnot.
Hmm.
So this is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be close. I think it might. I think it might come down to the wire. Honestly, I think it might.
I get it. So, who you think is gonna get the victory? The Colts or the Falcons?
I'm not high on the Colts this year, honestly. I think if you look at their roster and their schedule, I mean, they have one of the weaker schedules this season, which granted, I'm not going to ever blame a team for having a weak schedule. You got to play the people that are put in front of you, the teams that are put in front of you. And
Hmm.
that's exactly what they've done, and they've capitalized on it. Uh, is Penix playing? Penix is back. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
back.
he only missed the one game. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
he played last week.
Yeah, he
So,
did play last week. So I think I'm going to take the Falcons in this upset. I'm gonna go Falcons 31-28 and a last minute field goal win.
we have a similar score prediction, but opposite teams. I'm gonna take the Colts to win. I think Jonathan Taylor is gonna have a big game. Give me the
Okay.
Colts 30-24.
Okay.
Um, Moving on to the Giants versus Bears. I think this game is more important than the Bears' last two games. What made the Bears' last two games important is because the Bengals and Ravens, they still don't have good records. And the Bears, they they like kind of like what you're saying about the Colts. Like they have not had the strongest of schedules, but they're taking advantage of having a slightly easier schedule. The Giants are an NFC team. So I I'm not saying I think the Bears are gonna, just go 15-2 and just dominate the rest of the NFL. Being realistic, I think it'll be a successful year for the Bears if they at least compete for the playoffs. So I don't think the Bears can afford to lose this game. The Bears offense, they looked pretty good last week. They looked very good. Because, like, here's my question for you. When was the last time you've seen the Bears put up 47 points?
I was actually talking to one of my coworkers about that. I think it was since the Super Bowl they won. This is the last time they put up 40 points, I think.
And we weren't even
Uh,
alive for that.
exactly.
I,
So
I, I had to think for a second. That's because I was about to say against the Colts for a second, but yeah, nah,
yeah, 85 Bears. I think that was the last time they
probably.
put up 40 plus points, at least that I can remember, because I mean, in my era, in my lifetime, it hasn't happened.
I feel like I've definitely seen the Bears put up like 30, but not basically 50.
Yeah, not 50. So I think the Bears take this one. I think it would be a disappointment if they didn't, especially for a lot of Bears fans who's
Agreed.
as the Bears continue to succeed throughout this season, and you see Caleb kind of coming into form. I think that's just raising expectations for a lot of fans. So I think this is an important game for the Bears, and the Bears have a rough second half of the season. They got to play like four interdivision games, and it's going to be tough just because there's a fight within that division itself. So if they
Mhm.
want to be a playoff team, they're going to have to string along these the wins outside of their division in order to capitalize because those interdivision games are they can be a coin toss at times. Um,
I agree. And the thing is, they got to play the Vikings and Lions one more time, and they still have to play Green Bay
Twice.
twice.
Yep.
So, the Vikings game, I believe they were at home for it, and the Lions game, they were on the road. So,
Hmm.
yeah, you are 100% right. And the thing with the Giants is, Jackson Dart has been looking pretty good. I understand he is still just a rookie, so I'm not going to get, that high on him as of right now, but I will give credit where credit is due. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think I think that, he can make things tricky for the Bears. Put it like that.
No, I agree. I think it can get to a point where if the Bears defense comes out and plays sort of how they did at the end of at last week, Jackson Dart has been proven to be able to go out there and put points on the board. He's been proven to add some spice to that Giants offense.
Mhm.
Even with the injuries they've kind of had throughout the season, I think
Scatterboo
they
and
can
Malik
still,
Neighbors.
yeah, I think they can still be dangerous with just Jackson Dart, just because he's proven to have and carry that type of energy. I know he's a rookie, as we talked about, but doesn't exclude him from going out there and going off on the Bears defense. So I think the Bears really do need to lock in this week. It's a win. It's a win that's desperately needed if they want to go ahead and kind of aspire to be that playoff team they're hoping and pushing to be. So they got to come out and take care of business.
I agree. I'm gonna take the Bears to win this one 28-17. I think they get the 10-point win. Um, so for Bills versus Miami, I don't really have too much to say about this matchup. Um, but I will talk about the Bills defense because Mahomes played his basically like work. He had his, I think, lowest completion percentage ever
Ever
as a starter. They made
44%.
Patrick Mahomes look not Mahomey.
Not,
Um,
not Mahomes. Yeah,
yeah,
they
and yeah, I think the Bills as a whole, they just did, play well enough to win, even though the game was close. Um, and then Miami, their last game being against the Ravens, at least in the beginning of that game, they had some missed opportunities. They did. I'm not saying those missed opportunities would have helped them beat the Ravens, but it certainly would have made things more interesting. But I think Dolphins fans probably are like, bro, lose this game. We want our high draft pick. I'm gonna
yeah.
take the Bills to win this one 35-14.
Ooh, you're thinking of a blowout basically for them.
Pretty
Uh,
much.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills blew them out. However, with it being a division game, I do see it just being close just because the Bills, I mean, they blew up the Panthers. I don't really know if people thought that they were going to blow out the Panthers the way they did, even though the Panthers are very similar to the Falcons and just having up and down season.
Hmm.
Uh, but I think this one will be a little closer just because it's a division, interdivision game. I'm not sure if it'll be a field goal, a last second field goal, but I think
Hmm.
it'll at least be, a touchdown or at least the Miami Dolphins will have had some sort of chance to win the game. But yeah, I'm taking I'm sorry, I'm taking the Bills. I mean, Josh Allen probably having another MVP type season. I think he's number one in Vegas odds right now. So he comes out here, he's got to go out and do his thing and execute. This has probably been one of his best years to be able to go ahead and take the AFC and just run away with it at this point.
I agree. I agree. So moving on to the Ravens versus the Vikings. And not even just because the Ravens are my favorite team. I think this is just going to be an interesting matchup because the last time Lamar Jackson went up against a Brian Flores defense was, I think, in 2021 when Miami just kept on running basically mid blitz the entire game. And it just gave the Ravens fits and they ended up losing that game. And so, like, and also in general, the Vikings do have a good defense. So I'm interested to see how the Ravens offense will play against this Vikings defense. And also the same vein, I'm interested to see how well JJ McCarthy plays against the Ravens defense.
Mm. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Ravens on this one. I mean, it's a must win for them. Every game here on out practically is a must win for them. Uh, I think the Vikings have not been as strong on defense as they were last year. Don't get me wrong, they've still been good, but they've struggled with stopping the run. And I think that the Ravens can really come out and take advantage of that. If they can get Derrick Henry going, if they can get a run game going, if they can keep the Vikings off the field offensively, then I think that, the Ravens have a good chance of winning this game. It's just going to come down to execution, of course. I think I don't know how to even evaluate JJ right now, just because I
I
mean
don't think you can.
he's played 2, 3 games at this point, and it's been very up and down. So I think that just that question mark of not being able to know what we're gonna expect from JJ on a week to week basis, who's to say that he's gonna come out and do what he's done in his wins, in his fourth quarter comebacks as well. So I'm gonna take the Ravens. Uh, Hopefully it's not super close, but I have a feeling it might be a little close.
Yeah. I think this game is going to be close because even despite what I think about JJ McCarthy, I do think I'm going to have to put respect on Justin Jefferson and, the weapons on that offense to be able to, you know, let's just say take a simple slant route for a big play, something like that. And so my other thing is this. I think even if you take that out of the equation, I think what will win this game for the Ravens, it's how well they hold up in pass protection because the Vikings do send a lot of blitz and a lot of unexpected blitzing. So I am going to take the Ravens to win 35-24. Um, what do you think about the Browns versus Jets game?
I think this has to be a runaway game for the Broncos, or sorry, for the Browns. This is going to be mid versus mid at this point.
Can you even say mid? Because both of them are trash.
Trash, yeah, trash. This is just the trash versus the trash. I think, and this is just me pulling something out of a hat, but I think that the Browns just playing in a division that is so tough, I think it just gives them the upper hand in this game,
Hmm.
not for any other reason besides for that. You could really flip a coin to say who's going to win this game, but I just think defensively, right now, the Cleveland Browns have been playing really, really well defensively.
Hmm.
The Jets just kind of sold house defensively, losing their best two defensive pieces. So I feel like this is kind of just a a, a write-in for the Browns at this point. But it's both two trash teams, so you'd never know. But
I
if I had to
agree.
put my money on it, I would still put it on the Browns.
Yeah. I I couldn't have said it any better myself. I think Miles Garrett is going to have a big game, and the thing is, I think the game will still be close. I give me the Browns to win 20-14. What do you think about the Patriots versus Bucks, aka the Tom Brady Bowl?
I think this is going to be an electric game. I think this has the opportunity to be game of the week, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Um, just because I think it's flying a little bit under the radar with a few of the other games going on this week, but I
Hmm.
do feel like both these teams are kind of favorites, not only in their division in some sorts, but
Hmm.
also uh to make a run for the Super Bowl, especially the Bucks, I think. I mean, the Pats,
Hmm.
they beat the Bills, of course. So I think that they have that upper hand, and if they can keep ahead of the Bills with wins, they can kind of conquer the division,
Hmm.
which hasn't been done since Tom Brady. And then the Bucks, I think they're really just chasing the Eagles right now when it comes to how they're playing. Obviously, they've had a lot of injuries, but they also have a chance to kind of take advantage of this up and down season and this unpredictable season. Who's gonna win? That's tough. I'm gonna take Baker Mayfield. I think if the game is close, I think that he's been putting up his fourth quarter magic this season. I think that he'll find a way to get it done again. But I think it's gonna be a close game, and I think it's gonna be game of the week this week.
I do think that this is going to be a great game, and I think for the Patriots, as of right now, this is the best team that they will have played all year. So even if they lose this game, I think that this game is like they're a real contender because they're playing against one of the NFC's best. And I do think there's another team you didn't mention that the Bucks have to catch up to, the Lions. The Lions did embarrass them on Monday Night Football. And the thing
Agreed.
is, the Bucks were injured at wide receiver. The Lions were depleted in their secondary. So kind of an even playing field.
I think the Lions right now, it's just, I think they're another team that is just losing to teams that they shouldn't lose to. Um, and they lost out to the Chiefs. They've lost some games, some questionable games. So although the Lions are highly explosive and definitely still a threat, I think the Bucks are clear cut above them right now, just from that standpoint. Not that the Lions have no chance against them, but if this Pats Bucks game can come down to the wire, I think Baker Mayfield finds a way to get it done this week. But
I
we'll
get
see.
it. And yeah, I think for the Bucks, their next three games, obviously they're playing the Patriots. They play the Bills, then they play the Rams. If the Bucks win, let's just say two out of three of those games, then it's like, yeah, they're a threat to make a deep playoff run. But
Yep.
I will take the Bucks to win also 27-20. I think that this will be a close game. Um, so for the Saints versus Panthers, I don't have too much to say about this game. The Saints traded, Rashid Shaheed. And the thing is, I don't know if you saw this. So essentially, between Rashid Shaheed um, Sauce Gardner, and Quinn Williams. There's a group chat between the three. All three of them were basically exchanging texts saying they're happy they got traded. Rashid Shaheed basically said in that group chat that he woke up with a QB, which even though Spencer Rattler has not been playing terrible this season, he's not wrong though because Sam Darnold's out of this world. But that's a conversation we can have a little later.
Yeah.
Um, and so the Panthers, they got a big win against the Packers last week. And the thing is, they're playing like, bro, they're just running the ball and playing good defense.
Yep.
And the thing is, I think that they're going to be able to do that again against the Saints. I got the Panthers to win this game 17-3.
I agree. I think the Panthers will come out and be able to put together a winning formula for this game. The Saints are just, I mean, they're poor. They're trash. So it's just and after trading probably their biggest offensive threat, I think that I mean obviously you have Kamara who didn't end up getting dealt. But I think that with that, I think the offense is just going to be even more flabbergasted for the Saints, and I don't really see them being able to make huge momentum, any
Shifting
huge
plays.
momentum plays in this game.
Mhm.
And you're right. I think the Panthers, obviously victims of winning games they shouldn't, and losing games they should they should win. But
Mhm.
I think that they got to find a way to get this one done. I think they do find a way to get this one done. They've been playing good defense, like you said, and I think Bryce Young will put the team on his back for another week.
I agree. I agree. Moving on to the Jags versus Texans, I kind of don't have too much to say about this one either because CJ Stroud is not playing.
Yeah,
Davis Mills will be the starter. And the thing is, this offense has already been struggling this year, even though that they've shown flashes at times. I do not think that Davis Mills is going to, you know, lead the Texans to a victory. And the Jags, they just traded for Jacoby Myers. Travis Hunter's going to be out for the next couple games. Um, Brian Thomas Jr. is struggling this year. So I think, getting Jacoby Myers, it'll definitely help for the short-term future. It really,
yeah.
really will. But I don't think the Texans are going to get blown out. Their defense is too good to let them get blown out.
Yeah, I think it'll be a closer game. Um, I'm gonna give it to the Jags
Same.
on this one. I think really what it comes down to is the Jags are sitting in second right now in their division, Texans. If they can beat the Texans right now, go up 6-3, and then the Colts have a pretty tough second half of the schedule this season. So if the Colts even slip, if they come out and they lose to the Falcons, I
Hmm.
think that the Jags can really take a huge step forward in this and really
Hmm.
say, hey, our window might still be actually open right now
Hmm.
within this division to make some type of push or effort. Now, do I think that they're going super far or super deep into the playoffs? No, but I do think that the Jags defense can be lethal. I
Hmm.
think that the Jags defense they have really good pass rushers,
Hmm.
and they have really good DBs as well. So if they can put that together, I think that they could actually become some sort of threat to for that in that division. So I'm going to give this one to the Jags, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm going to take the Jags to win this one 23-10. We're kind of near the 3 o'clock slate of games, so we have the Cardinals versus Seattle. I do think this is going to be a decent game. Um, the Cardinals offense with Jacoby Brissett has been playing very well, and he's likely going to playing, for the rest of the year. Um, and then, Seattle adding Rashid Shaheed, like we talked about. I think that's going to make their offense even more explosive. And also something I'm happy about. I knew before this year even started that Jackson Smith and Jigba was going to ball out. And I was right. He was somebody I tried to target in all my fantasy leagues. I only
Yeah.
got him in one though. I'm in two, technically three. But yeah, I think this game's going to be close, but there's going to be a lot of points. I'm gonna take Seattle to win 42-28.
Where all the NFC East teams are playing each other. They're
NFC
all
West, yes.
NFC West, excuse me, yeah, NFC West teams are playing each other this week.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that it's gonna be close. I mean, as I think it's gonna be a close game, but like you said, she she like that trade makes the Seattle offense even more of a threat. Defense
Hmm.
hasn't been playing bad. Of course, Arizona with Brissett has been playing better. Kyler Murray got placed on IR. He probably won't be back this season.
He's going to be playing some Call of Duty. Comes out in like a week.
Black Ops 7 coming out. Sponsor
Right.
us. Nah. But I think, yeah, I got to give this one to the Seattle. I think that just with adding this addition, I don't even know if he's going to play this week, but just adding the addition, how explosive their offense has already been, they got to win this one. I see them winning this one. The Cardinals, they're on an upswing, but I don't really see them being a threat in this division as of right now,
Mm,
just with how well the other three teams are playing.
mm. I get it. I get it. I agree. I agree. I agree 100%. So for our next game, we've got another NFC West matchup. We've got the LA Rams versus the 49ers. What are your thoughts on this game?
Another game right here. I think I'm kind of I'm kind of in limbo on this game, to be honest with you. And the only reason why I say that is because I'm high on the Rams. I like the Rams. They've been playing really, really well offensively lately and defensively. Let's be honest here. They've been playing really well both sides of the ball.
Hmm.
Uh, the Rams, I feel like in recent years lose games against good teams. I feel like they can't find ways to beat good teams when it matters. And I think this game matters, especially for seeding purposes, as we were just talking about. Um, I'm rooting for the Rams. I hope that they can come out and win this game. I think that they can come out and win this game, especially if they execute. Um, I think this is going to be another close one, though. This is an interdivision game. They always play each other close. They always play each other well. Kyle Shanahan's no slouch, of course. Mac Jones has consistently been playing well,
It might
although
be Brock Purdy. It
I
might
was just
be.
about to say, he's consistently been playing well, although there is rumors that Brock Purdy might be playing. So is it a healthy Brock? Is it a healthy, not only healthy, but is he in rhythm? You know, with how much time he's missed, is he going to have some rest on him, or is he going to be playing well? I think it's kind of up in the air with kind of those questions. I think either way, I'm going to have the Rams edging it out, but I can't say I'm too confident in it.
That's where we're kind of on the flip side. Um, I'm confident in this Rams team.
Mhm.
Um, because well, one, Matthew Stafford is playing like an MVP right now. In his last like 5 games, he's basically thrown for like 1,500 yards,
Yeah.
16 touchdowns, and no picks. Um, and I do think the 49ers are going to keep this a good game. Yes, their entire team is basically hurt. I still think they're going to keep this a good game. And I think Christian McCaffrey, he's gonna, do what he normally does, just have a great game, whether it's on the ground or in the air.
Mhm.
But I think with all the injuries to the 49ers, I do not think that they're going to be able to stop this offense for long. People like Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, one of them is going to have a big play to, let's just like the floodgates get open loose, even though I
Open the
think it's going
game
to be
up.
close.
Yeah, to open the game up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Rams are going to get this one 31-24. And the funny thing is, if you're a Seattle fan, you most definitely should be rooting for the Rams simply just because week one, Seattle lost to the 49ers.
Yeah.
So you are most definitely hoping the 49ers lose to the Rams if you are a Seattle fan.
Yeah. I think this will be a good game. Like you said, they always play each other well. Um, Hopefully the Rams edge them out in this one. I would be happy if that happens because I'm a huge Matthew Stafford fan. I'm glad he's been playing as well as he's been playing because I got to bring it back to the beginning of the season when people were putting shade on my man's because he hadn't practiced a single time in the off season. He didn't practice a
Hmm.
single day, and people were hating on him and
Hmm.
trying to kind of say that he was going to be having this down season and he was
Hmm.
washed now and he wasn't going to be able to get back to performing the way he's been performing in his career. Man, shout out to Matthew Stafford, probably my favorite quarterback in the league, so he better go out there and ball out for this one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So moving on to the Lions versus the Commanders, which I'm just gonna go out right now. The Lions are getting this win. Even if Jaden Daniels did not have that bad arm injury, I'm still gonna pick the Lions for 2 reasons. Reason number one, the Lions, I feel like are probably gonna go into this game a little frustrated that how they lost to them, even though that this is obviously not the same team that they lost to. And number two, I think that they're probably going to be playing with anger that they lost last week, and they don't want to drop two in a row.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning more toward that second one than the first one. And for the Commanders, even with Jaden Daniels, that offense is just not what it was last year. The NFL has kind of figured out the Commanders' offense. I don't think they figured out Jaden Daniels exactly. Think they figured out that offense. And so I think because they still kind of run a college offense, in my opinion, I think that Cliff Kingsbury needs to, for lack of a better like metaphor or analogy, they need to take the training wheels off of Jaden Daniels, and he just needs to have more freedom than he already because he doesn't. It doesn't seem like he has a whole lot of freedom. It's not like I don't think he's restricted a lot at the play calls. But if there's one thing I have to say about Jaden Daniels, I want to see him put 10 to 15 pounds because like he's a big dude. He's like 6'4", 215. But the thing is, he's a skinny 215. And so he's already been banged up this year. And so like I just pray that he just like, was putting on a little bit of muscle, put on a little bit of weight. I'm not saying he needs to go out there and put on 20, 30 pounds. I'm just saying he needs to put on 10 to 15. He'll still be the Jaden Daniels that can, run, he threat with your legs, but I think he needs to put on a little bit of weight so to avoid those injuries just a little bit.
Yeah, before I give you my answer, I gotta just make sure that people are aware that I'm not wishing this on Jaden McDaniels. I don't want to see this happen to him. I want to see him succeed. I think he's a great, talented quarterback with a bright, bright future. I think right now Commanders fans are holding their breaths and thinking, do we have another RG3 on our hands right now? I think that that's what they're thinking right now because in his second season, he's already had four significant injuries, all in different parts. He had the ribs last year, he
Yeah.
had the ankle, he's got the
Hamstring.
knee, and now he's got this arm injury. So it's like it's only been 2 years and we've already seen him banged up, which is not good. But I think one of the things is that the Commanders do need to protect him uh better. I think they need to protect him better. Obviously, they traded for the left tackle Larry Tunsil off in the offseason. I think they need to get a better run game. I think there's a few things you can do to kind of help Jaden McDaniels in this offense, kind of get the gears turning a little bit more. I do think that the play calls have been a little bit of a like intermediate, not really like full on NFL style football per se, but I think that they have the skill players. I just think that they need to kind of be able to put it all together consistently. But I'm praying for Danny McDaniels, man. I'm hoping that he can make a quick, speedy recovery. I'm hoping that he can kind of, what I can kind of compare it to is like Stephen Curry at the beginning of his career when he was having a lot of injury troubles. He was able to kind of off season wise get his body right and then
Hmm.
become a generational talent.
Great
So
analogy.
yeah, so I'm hoping that that can happen for Jaden McDaniels too. I'm hoping they can find a way to get around these injuries. But right now, I know Commanders fans are holding their breaths. Getting back to it, I am also taking the Lions easy on this one. I think I think last week, just with the disappointing performance they put up against the Vikings, I think Dan Quinn teams, especially recently, or sorry, yeah, Dan Quinn, coach for the Lions. I think
He coached with the Commanders.
or
I'm trying to say Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell, I'm sorry. Yeah. Dan Campbell, he rarely loses 2 games in a row, especially within the last few years. They've been playing well.
Hmm.
So I think they come out and get the job done.
I agree. I agree. Give me the Lions to win this one, 45-14. Sunday Night Football. You got your Steelers going to LA to take on the Chargers. You lead the way. What are you feeling? What are your thoughts?
You already know my thoughts on the Steelers this season in general. Um, I don't want to say I'm praying on their downfall, but I don't think we're going anywhere when it really matters. I think we'll still be in the mix. I think we'll be wild card playoff spot team like Mike Tomlin teams typically are, but I don't think we're really a threat to go anywhere. I think the Chargers are also kind of in that same category to where they're just banged up and stuff. I don't think that they're going to make a super push to the Super Bowl or anything like that, but I think that they can kind of do well this season to put themselves in a better position next season just with the tough division they're in. I'm going to say the Steelers are going to take this one. Um, I think it'll be close, of course, like all Steelers games are, gut-wrenching and close and ugly. I think they find a way to get this one done. I don't think that the Chargers will be, and this all really depends on how the Steelers defense comes out and plays. I think the Steelers offense has been pretty consistent across the board this season, which
It's
is usually not the
crazy.
norm. Huh? But
Crazy to say that.
yeah, exactly. But I think that if the defense comes out and plays like they did last week, if we're able to get pressure on Justin Herbert, I think we're able to force at least enough errors to be able to kind of outscore them in a relatively low scoring game. I think it'll be low 20s. I don't think it'll be a high scoring game by any means. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think Aaron Rodgers will come out and still have a pretty solid game, though. I think he's been playing pretty well. The offense has been playing pretty well, and we'll see what the Chargers can do coming off of last week.
So normally I don't pick against the Steelers, but today I am going to, only because I feel like this season we have not seen the Steelers defense put up, keep that consistency. I think their offense is going to bring it. I think that offense will keep them in these games. But if this is the time for the Steelers to kick, a team, like kick, like blow them out, I think it's because, like, yes, the Chargers made the trade for Penning, tackle on the Saints, so they've got a healthy
Sure.
makeshift offensive line. But I have not seen enough from the Steelers defense. I think Aaron Rodgers will keep them in the. I honestly see this game playing similarly to that Bengals Thursday night football game, but more so from the Steelers just can't get a stop on third down sort of thing. Like, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to throw any interceptions. I don't. I think it's, if anything, I think to your point, I do agree 100%. If the Steelers, like J.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, and just company, I'm gonna say Jalen Ramsey because he blitzes a lot. If they can just put a lot of pressure on Justin Herbert, I think they can force one of those errors. I think they can, make the life for the Chargers fits.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take the Chargers to win a close one, 31-27. But I can see both teams winning this. And I'm not just saying this to you because you're a Steelers fan.
No, I can see both teams winning this game for sure. However, I think that if this game gets out of hand, I think it's going to be to the Steelers' detriment. I think that the Steelers, if by chance this game is a blowout, it's going to be on the Chargers' end. The Chargers are going to be blowing out the Steelers. I don't see I don't see the Steelers coming out and blowing out the Chargers in any scenario. Just because I mean last week against the Colts we forced 6 turnovers. We still only lost by a single score, or sorry, won by a single score. I don't see the Steelers blowing out this Chargers team. But I can see if the Steelers on offense struggle converting on third downs, which we've have in the past.
Hmm.
Even with Aaron Rodgers behind the center, I think we've seen the Steelers struggle on third downs. And if that is the case, and our defense can't stop a nosebleed or seem to get any pressure on this makeshift offensive line for the Chargers, I can see it getting out of hand just because Justin Herbert is such a gunslinger. Um, but I don't think it'll happen. I think the Steelers will come out, defense will come out and try to replicate what we did last week. Fumes running high off of that performance. So I'm hopeful on that, and I think that we'll see a Steelers defense that'll start to actually tighten up as the season moves on. Hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers on that. Don't prove me wrong, my Steelers. I need
I
y'all to come out
understand.
there and go crazy.
I understand. And our final game to talk about is the Eagles versus the Packers. And we talked about the Eagles with, some of the moves that they made at the beginning. And the reason why I didn't really clearly say that I thought they were a trade deadline winner is because Jalen Phillips has an injury history. Jair Alexander, I this is just a theory, and I'll tap into my conspiracy theory. I feel like one of the injuries he had on the Packers, I feel like he probably had a bad surgery. I feel like that bad surgery has kind of probably kept him in and out of the lineup even when he was in Green Bay. For the Ravens, even when he played on the Ravens, he was not good. He was
Yeah.
not. Most Ravens fans, cause myself included, we were delusional. Like, I thought it was going to work out. It did not. But if Jalen Phillips and Jair Alexander, if they're able to stay healthy, I think it can be pretty dangerous for the Eagles. But for the Packers, yeah, they're like the Falcons to me. They're basically the Falcons, but in ugly uniforms. Yes, I'm saying that. Um, and so, like, they'll look good against, top tier teams, but then look bad against teams that they should beat. So basically, the opposite of the Falcons. The Falcons will look bad against bad teams while they look good. So like they're kind of the opposite. Actually, no, I'm saying that right. I'm saying that right. They are more similar. I was almost kind of going in circles.
No.
Um, but yeah, the Packers and Falcons, they're like two sides of the same coin to me. And I think if the Packers want to win this game, their offensive line's got to be on point. Josh Jacobs has got to he's got to have himself a day. And one of my friends from college, he's a Packers fan, and he's the first person I ever heard say it for Jordan Love specifically. Jordan Love throws boneheaded interceptions. He's good for at least one boneheaded play a football game, at least one. If he doesn't have that one, I think the Packers could win. But I'm gonna take the Eagles. They're coming off a bye week. They're players who might have been banged up are gonna be a little bit more healthy. I'm gonna take the Eagles to win this one, 33-24. Yes, 33. I think they're gonna get a weird score somehow.
I'm taking the Eagles this one. I don't think it's gonna be close. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, I think I think Eagles fans actually kind of have the Eagles players and coaching staff probably had this game circled on their calendars this year. And the only reason why I say that is because of two things. One, this past offseason, the Green Bay Packers were the number one team pushing to get rid of the tush push.
That is
They were the
true.
number one team trying to vote to rid and ban NFL fans and players of the godforsaken tush push. So I think that the Eagles players have had this game circled for that reason. And then second reason, start of this season, there was some early chatter about Super Bowl contenders in that Green Bay Packers locker room based off of how that defense was playing so dominantly.
Hmm.
And like you just said, they've been one of the most up and down teams when it comes to are you for real or are you pretenders?
Hmm.
And I think that the Eagles having struggles on the offensive side of the ball recently, I think this is another game where they come out, execute dang near perfectly. Shaquan Barkley has a good game. I think Jalen Hurts will have a good game. And I think that they'll get AJ going. And I think that this will be one of those kumbaya triumph moments for the Eagles, saying, you know what, we actually are for real. And I think that this is going to be one of those games for the Packers where they're really going to have to look themselves in the mirror and say, who are we as a football team? Because right now we've seen the defense play like they're the number one defense in the league, and we've seen them play like they're one of the worst defense in the league. I mean, go back to that Cowboys game. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. And we just seen what the Cowboys did against the Arizona Cardinals. So it's like, I think that, and then we've also seen on the other side of the ball for the Packers, we've seen that offense run on high, executing well. And then we've seen, like you said, those Jordan Love blunders where you're just questioning yourself and scratching your head. And I just think that right now, the Packers, where they are as an organization, aren't really ready to kind of take on the beast of the NFL, that
Hmm.
number one team. And I think that the Eagles will come out and I think they'll clean up the job and they'll make it look. I'm not going to say easy, as in it's going to be a disrespectful game by any means, but I don't think that there's going to be too much pressure in the fourth quarter on the Eagles. I'm not going to say AJ Brown finna be on the sideline reading books again,
Yeah.
but I think that you'll see a smile on Jalen Hurts' face and on Shaquan's face and some of the other players in the Eagles. I think they start finally putting the pieces together to make a run this second half of the season, especially after the deadline. They got to be feeling pretty good about the where they're at.
Mm. I understand. I understand. That's really all I had for this podcast episode. Is there anything else you want to add real quick while you got a chance?
Uh, no, I think that we're in store for another interesting week of football. I'm sure that there'll be some upsets and whatnot. I'm sure. I'll hear about what our record was
Hmm.
after the fact, but I'm looking forward to seeing if who wins out on this record coming and going into this week.
Yeah, I understand and I agree. Well, bro, I just want to thank you for hopping on, the podcast episode with me. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm gonna close this episode out, not with football thoughts, but with different thoughts. 4 months ago, I started dating my girlfriend Melissa. I just want to say happy 4 months. And
Hey,
I
nice.
hope you all enjoy this episode of the I Am Passionate podcast between, me and my older brother Cameron, and we will see you all next time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.